Here's Joe Rogan talking about what it looks like on TV, what it's looking like to the average person that's watching it. Go ahead, Rob.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
And what do you think about what Joe said there?
I'm just horrified that my party is so bereft of Hollywood celebrities that they will latch on to someone who was a janitor in a 1970s sitcom and make him into this hero. I've always thought Joe Rogan is a moron. If young men are looking for a masculine podcast, I would definitely recommend this one over that. I mean, his claim to fame is he was first, so he gets interesting interviewees. But if the people he's talking to are interesting, he's not interesting.
You don't think Joe is interesting?
No.
I think
I think what he just said was utterly
Have you
beyond
ever met him?
moronic.
Have you guys ever?
In fact, I think you just demolished what he said there. I think everybody has this idea. They've been saying this since 2015 about Trump. Oh, which reminds me, I make fun of it in my book, In Trump We Trust. All of these op-eds in 1930s. We're back to this. And he's comparing this to the Gestapo. As I just pointed out earlier, the one part of the Arizona law that was upheld by the Supreme Court was what liberals were all saying, oh, it's papers, please, it's papers. No, it's reasonable cause. We're looking for illegal aliens. Of course you can consider accents, ability to speak English, what someone looks like. That is part of the many things they are looking at. And the idea that they're pulling aside citizens, it's less than 1% of citizens who have even been briefly detained. It's less than 1% fraud as opposed to 10% fraud in these feed your families programs.
Well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I actually have the numbers. So in the past, great point, and in the last 12 months, there have been 100, this is 1 year, 170 confirmed instances in which an American citizen was temporarily or improperly detained by ICE, okay? In that same time frame, there have been approximately 622,000 forced deportations, okay? So, and to your point, this puts ICE's improper temporary detention rate at 0.027. So in other words, ICE is doing a fantastic job and has a 99.973% success rate, okay? And I respect Joe, but for saying the Gestapo and stuff, it's like they've caught the Gestapo bug. You know why? Because during Obama, you never saw it. CNN never showed it. MSNBC never showed it. Fox never. Nobody ever aired this stuff, okay? And just to add on top of it, Trump wants to be number one, so he has to catch Obama, which got 5 million out. At this pace, he's not going to do it. The Department of Homeland Security has publicly claimed that 1.9 undocumented illegal immigrants have voluntarily self-deported, okay, since Trump took office. If you know it's coming, I know it's hard, you have to leave. Trump is enforcing the law. Yeah. He didn't make the law.
Yeah, please.
Okay?
1.9 million. You didn't say million.
1.9 million. I'm sorry. 1.9 million people were like, you know what? They're coming. Let me leave, get my stuff together, and potentially come back the right way. I don't see the problem. Because think about it. Trump's kicking ass, sorry for my language, on every other aspect. This is the one thing they have to do. You know why? What is the Democratic Party running on? What is Gavin Newsom was yesterday on with Ben Shapiro? He has nothing. It's just lie after lie after lie. This is all they run on is hatred for us. It's hatred for us. Gestapo, Hitler. It's like, it's enough. Enough.
Emotion and outrage are absent, and they don't have a platform.
There's no platform. They have no policy. They have nothing. They have no leaders.
And
they have nothing.
Well, I think this was a really bad take by Joe Rogan, but that doesn't mean he's a bad person. In fact, respectfully, he's the GOAT of podcasting. So you said his claim to fame, he was first. Touche, the great Ann Coulter, but he's still first. Remember when we were with Rogan and he goes, listen, I'm number one in 92 countries. That's a big difference between being number 92 in one country. So the challenge that Rogan will have is he's so good and he's so big, one bad take, and this was a bad take, respectfully, Mr. Rogan, it's going to get amplified. Even the White House responds. But overall, he's the GOAT in the podcasting space. He's still number one. And he's going to, give him a little grace to make some mistakes.
No, but let me tell you.
I would love to see him walk that back.
Let me tell you, when I had a guy came to my place. Tom, you'll remember this. He sent me this offer. He says, please take this to the president. Tom Homan, they need to see this. He said, for you to be able to deport 10 million people, here's what the budget's going to be. You need people that are going to be finding folks. You need trucks. You need this. He said, it's going to take you 700. He gave a massive number of what it was going to take. Okay, great. When they started saying we're going to deport, we're going to get rid of all these illegal immigrants, the first thing I went to is people that are emotional, that are just like regular people that are going to watch the content. You know how much great content is going to be produced to show how evil the current regime is, and they're taking them back to their country and separating them from their family, and look how cold they are, and look how this they are. So the average person, no matter who you are, who is not studying the numbers, who is not looking into this closely, is going to look at that and is going to say, I cannot believe we're doing this. And then you study history, and then you're explaining the history of insurrection, what Eisenhower did, what Kennedy did, Alabama, all this stuff. And then somebody goes and looks at the history, it's like, wait a minute, we've been doing this for many, many times. You have to do this to keep the American people safe. But I do believe, because it's such an emotional situation, that even the best and the brightest can fall for it and say, this is not fair. And millions will say, that's what we need. We need more people like this that are empathetic. But the reality of it is, how many people it's going to take to do the next 9/11? Go ahead and let's figure out right now, this year, what's coming up this year in June, July.
Hey, I heard it's our 250th birthday, baby.
No, but hang on a second. World Cup is coming here.
Oh, that too.
Okay? So let one massive event take place. Let Munich, you thought what happened with Munich,
the Olympics.
Let something like that happen here. And then it's an illegal immigrant that came here, not from Mexico, not from Guatemala, not from El Salvador, but let's just say this person came from the Middle East, boom, boom, and then they do something. Then thousands of people died. Then we have to stop the World Cup. Then we have to stop the games. And then who's going to be looking at saying, oh, you know what? All that stuff you were doing on the streets, why didn't you do more of it? Trump should have cleaned house better. Of course. You should have been more proactive.
Point, Pat.
Now you're saying that?
Yep.
And the problem, I was in the insurance space for 25 years. When you sell life insurance, the average person you talk to with life insurance, and you say, like I remember when I told my dad, I'm getting to the insurance space, he says, how does this work? I said, you pay $100 every month, but if you die, the insurance company will give you $250,000. He says, you believe this America company pay you $250,000? So I pay $100 3 months. That's $300. A company called AIG is going to pay me $250,000. You're crazy if you believe it, right? Of course. The average person. But the reality of it is, you know how many times we had a client that paid a couple premiums and they were delivering $500,000 policy? So many times.
Yes.
So many times. You don't buy insurance because you're going to die tomorrow. No. You buy in case. We have to be very proactive with this. I'm glad he's doing it, but I also get you can fall for the emotional videos and sit there and say, what an evil thing that we're doing. We don't have to do this.
You know,
I get
to
that.
expand on your point, yes, the media is very powerful, and yes, a lot of people are, I think, falling for this. On the other hand, I don't quite believe the polls. I mean, the original polls from the New York Times and places like that were that the vast majority of Americans wanted Trump to deport all illegal aliens. New York Times published this like 6 months.
It was 60+% if I remember correctly.
All, criminal or
Yes.
not. And as with life insurance, somebody dying, there are a lot of Molly Tibbetts out there. There are a lot of families who have been not only had children or relatives murdered or killed in drunk driving accidents, but victims of 9/11. That was an immigration problem. Whose neighborhoods have been overtaken, whose pets are being eaten, or whatever.
They're eating the dogs. Sorry.
And it goes out in concentric circles. It doesn't have to be you whose child died. That whole neighborhood knows about that child. And I think there are a lot of Americans who are not as vocal as some of those on the left who are looking at this and saying, I don't care, just get them out. Biden brought in 20 million. We got to get them out.
Yeah. 100.
Yeah,
By the way,
I want to show something
Sure.
here. Rob, can you do me a favor? Find the clip of Caroline Levitt talking to this reporter.
I love this.
Everybody has to watch this. Watch this clip here, folks.
From the top rope.
Good. Unfortunately and tragically killed.
Are you asking me my opinion?
because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view.
I can watch it all
and
day,
have
man.
a
All day on
biased
repeat.
view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist. Why was
By the
Wow.
way, go ahead.
Can I react to that? By the way, Caroline Levin is a straight verbal assassin gangster. And I mean that in the highest possible way. No, one of us, I won't name names, was joking backstage. He's like, well, that's why I don't think women should be in power or leadership. Here's Exhibit A that gentleman didn't know what he's talking about, because there's Ann Coulters of the world and Caroline Levitts of the world that just dismiss all your preconceived notions. You know how when someone like has a mic drop thing and like they stop the video and sunglasses come in, they put a blunt in their mouth and it's like, yay, and it's a gangster thing? She should have 100 of those. Caroline Levitt is a verbal gangster. Thank you for doing what you're
By the
doing
way,
for
this
America.
is what Fetterman said about it. Rob, if you want to go to Fetterman, I'll make this the last clip, and then we'll move on to the next story. This is Fetterman. Go ahead, Rob.
Border, and it was skyrocketing, and it's like, that's unsustainable. When you reach almost 300,000 people, that's unsustainable, and we need to, as a Democrat, It shouldn't be unreasonable to want to secure our border and do it in that way. And now let's also talk about ICE. Now, absolutely, again, what happened in Minneapolis was absolutely tragic. And then now, if you think, now this is from the Washington Post, this is the latest statistics. These are people that ICE now are, no, it's like now, 67% have criminal charges, pending ones, or that. So that's more than 2/3. The people now there are some people that aren't involved in any kinds of illegal things, but so me, I think two things can be true. Round up all the criminals, deport them. They shouldn't have ever been here, and they definitely have to go. And now I don't want to see more and more things happening in Minneapolis now too. So two things must be true, and I strongly reject the extreme on either side, about this now. So we must be true. And I watched your
pretty wild that he is becoming a voice of reason.
Isn't that crazy?
Him.
It took one injury and he's back to normal. God bless him. But and at the end of the day, this is what drives me crazy, because Tom, I know you want to say something and he wants to move on. When you have the mayor and the governor and Ilhan Omar calling to action, get in their faces, do this, and then something like this happens, where's the accountability? You want to talk about Insurrection Act? When they said Donald Trump told them to go in there and what? No, this is what they're doing, and there has to be accountability for you sending in the troops, and then one of the troops gets killed, and then it's like, no, we have nothing to do with it. What were you going to say, Tom?
What I was going to say is there's a case study on this if we want to really look at it, and it's called Portland, Oregon. And Portland, Oregon had all of these police officers defund the police, defund the police. Police officers took early retirement. Police officers went to other parts of the country being paid a partial pension on Portland because they retired, and then they became police officers elsewhere. Today in Portland, Oregon, the voters are asking to refund, not pay back, but let's fund the police. There is a shortage of 200 officers in Portland, Oregon today. The people feel less safe. The people are concerned about it. You can see it in bipartisan polling. There's the case study. There's where this ends. This ends years later, because we're now 4 years later in Portland, Oregon, without adequate police and with an insecure populace that are looking around and saying, what the hell happened? There's the case study.
I just want to give a shout out to John Fetterman and all the other Democrats that have been supporting John. Oh, none are? Zero? No one else in the Democratic Party? So one thing he said is so important. He goes, Two things can be true at once. So for John Fetterman, you can be a Democrat, but also have common sense. Unfortunately, it starts and stops with John Fetterman.
Yeah. Vinny's got something special he wants to share with you guys. And when Vinny does this, it's a very, very special moment. So, Vinny, tell us what you've been working on.
Thank you, Pat. So, as you guys know, I have the Faith Over Fear line, and this shirt that I'm wearing right now is our newest. Faith Over Fear was more of how you live. This shirt is on how you stand. So, in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8, Isaiah has a vision of God in his throne, and he's asking, he wants somebody to step up to go to Israel to, call people to God. They're resisting, they're rejecting him. And God says, whom shall I send and who will go for us? And Isaiah, knowing the cost, just answers quick. He goes, here am I, send me. And there's actually a moment, Pat, in the movie Fury. Do you guys remember Shia LaBeouf? Yep. His name is Bible in the movie. John Bernthal, Brad Pitt. They're in this tank division. The tank has been destroyed. Okay, they know that they're all gonna die. They can run, they could leave, but they choose to stay there and delay the enemy from advancing. And Shia LaBeouf has that moment where he goes, "This is a righteous act, gentlemen," and he quotes the verse from Isaiah. He goes, "Here am I, send me." So it's about answering the call even when it costs everything. So that's what this shirt means today. It's speaking the word when it's unpopular and standing firm regardless of the consequences. And so the front of the shirt is Isaiah 6:8. Valuetainment is here, and that's the back of the shirt right there. Here am I, send me. It's live right now on vtmerch.com. Get you guys a shirt, and yeah, that's
I'm
it.
proud of you, buddy.
By the
Thank
way,
you.
last
Here am I,
time,
step
I'm
up.
proud of you for reading the Torah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, last time he did this, 10,000 Faith Over Fear shirts were picked up. So go pick yourself up a shirt and represent. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.